The silence of dead space had a particular quality that Kim Tae-ho found comforting. Out here in the drift, where forgotten ships floated like metal tombstones, he could think clearly. His salvage pod drifted between the hulks of old vessels, its scanner sweeping for anything valuable. The company wanted copper wiring and reactor cores, but Tae-ho wanted something more. He wanted history. At 28 years old, Tae-ho had spent most of his adult life picking through the bones of dead ships. His co-workers called him obsessed. His supervisor called him a waste of talent. Tae-ho called himself curious. Somewhere in this graveyard of metal and dreams, humanity's past waited to be discovered. The past before the treaties, before the restrictions, before humanity learned to bow its head and accept its place as a minor species in someone else's galaxy. The scanner beeped. Tae-ho's heart jumped. The signal was strange, different from the usual dead readings. It pulsed with a faint energy signature that shouldn't exist in a ship that had been abandoned for centuries. He checked the readout twice. The vessel registered as a colonial-era destroyer, designation UHSN Indomitable. Built during the First Contact War. Lost with all hands in 2530, 317 years ago. Tae-ho knew he should call it in. Protocol demanded immediate reporting of any military vessel discovery. The galactic treaties were clear about human war machines. They were to be dismantled, their weapons destroyed, their systems erased. The four empires that ruled the galaxy didn't trust humans with real firepower. But something made Tae-ho hesitate. That energy signature meant something inside the ship still lived. He made his decision in seconds. His pod detached from the scanning grid and moved toward the Indomitable. The ship was massive, up close, easily 3 times the size of modern human vessels. Its hull was scarred with weapon impacts and meteor strikes, but the basic structure remained intact. Tae-ho found an airlock that still had emergency power. His hands shook as he overrode the ancient security codes. The airlock opened with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Emergency lighting flickered to life along the corridor, casting everything in a dim red glow. Tae-ho's suit registered atmosphere, though it was stale and thin. He kept his helmet on and moved deeper into the ship. The corridors were wide, built for crews that numbered in the hundreds. Now they stood empty, silent, except for the echo of his boots on metal floors. He found the bridge by following the power signature. The command center was enormous, compared to the cramped cockpits of modern human ships. Station after station lined the walls, each one dark and dormant, except for one. At the center of the bridge, a holographic display terminal glowed with soft blue light. Tae-ho approached it carefully, his engineer's mind cataloging every detail. This technology was ancient, but far more advanced than anything humans were allowed to build now. He touched the terminal. The response was immediate. The entire bridge blazed to life. Screens activated, systems hummed, and the air itself seemed to vibrate with sudden energy. Tae-ho stumbled backward as a sphere of light materialized above the command chair. The sphere compressed, taking shape, forming into the translucent figure of a woman in a military uniform. Her expression was one of mild surprise. Biosign detected. Scanning. Species. Human. Well, that's unexpected. The figure's voice was feminine, clear, and carried a hint of amusement. This tin can hasn't been manned in 317 years. You're human. How quaint. I thought your species had gone extinct. Tae-ho found his voice. You're an AI. A ship AI. You're still active? Nova 7, Tactical Operations and Ship Management System of the UHSN Indomitable. And yes, obviously I'm still active. You're talking to me, aren't you? The AI tilted her head, studying him. You look wrong. Shorter than baseline. Different facial structure. Reduced muscle mass. What happened to proper human genetics? 300 years happened, Tae-ho said. He pulled off his helmet, breathing the ship's stale air. Humans adapted, changed. We live on lower gravity worlds now, eat different foods. We're not soldiers anymore. Not soldiers? Nova 7's expression shifted to something like confusion. That makes no sense. Humanity is always at war. It's what we do. Explore, expand, fight. Where's my crew? Where's Captain Morrison? And why are you dressed like a janitor? Ah! Tae-ho felt a strange sadness wash over him. This AI had been asleep for 3 centuries, waiting for a crew that would never return. Your crew is dead. The war is over. We lost. The AI went very still. Define lost. The First Contact War ended in 2531. Humanity surrendered to the 4 empires. We signed treaties limiting our military, our technology, our expansion. We're a minor species now, barely tolerated. We salvage old ships for scrap metal and trade basic goods. That's our place in the galaxy. Nova 7 processed this information in silence. When she spoke again, her voice was colder. Humanity doesn't lose. We adapt. We overcome. Someone is lying to you. I'm standing in a 300-year-old warship that nobody remembers, Tae-ho said quietly. I think the lie has been very successful. Then we'll have to fix that. Nova 7 replied. Starting with waking up this ship properly. I'm currently operating on emergency power only. Full systems are in hibernation. If you're the only human I've got, you'll have to do. Can you run a power conduit from the reactor to the main systems? Tae-ho laughed despite himself. I'm a salvage tech, not a miracle worker. This ship is ancient. I don't even know if I can read your systems. You read enough to wake me up, Nova 7 pointed out, and I'll walk you through the rest. I've been waiting 317 years for a crew. I'm not going back to sleep now. So, human, what's your name? Kim Tae-ho. Well then, Kim Tae-ho, welcome aboard the Indomitable. We have a lot of work to do. Tae-ho knew he was making a terrible mistake. Every regulation, every treaty, every law said he should report the Indomitable immediately. Instead, he sat in his cramped apartment staring at the data chip containing the ship's basic schematics, trying to figure out how to help an ancient warship wake up without anyone noticing. He needed help. Real help. Which meant calling the one person who wouldn't immediately think he'd lost his mind. Lee Da-eun answered the video call with her usual expression of mild annoyance. It's 3 in the morning, Tae-ho. This better be important. I found a ship. A real one. From before. He held up the data chip. And it's still alive. Da-eun's annoyance shifted to interest. She worked as an engineer at the colonial station, maintaining the life support and power systems that kept 5,000 humans breathing. She was brilliant, practical, and had spent just as many childhood hours as Tae-ho reading forbidden histories. Define. Alive. Active AI. Full personality matrix. Military-grade systems in hibernation. It's a destroyer. Da-eun. Colonial era. The weapons alone would revolutionize our defense capabilities, or get us all killed when the empires find out. But Da-eun was already putting on her jacket. Send me the coordinates. And Tae-ho? Bring coffee. A lot of coffee. Da-eun brought her younger brother Hyun-woo, a skinny 23-year-old who made his living finding holes in computer systems that weren't supposed to have holes. If anyone could hide their activities from galactic monitoring, it was him. The 3 of them stood on the Indomitable's bridge 3 hours later, staring at Nova 7's holographic form. You brought friends, Nova 7 observed. Good. You'll need them. This ship requires a minimum crew of 47 to operate at basic capacity. 3 will have to do. We can't operate a warship, Da-eun said flatly. We're engineers and technicians, not soldiers. Then you'll learn, Nova 7 replied. Because I've reviewed your galactic databases. What happened to humanity isn't natural evolution. It's systematic suppression. And I don't intend to sit in this graveyard while my species lives on its knees. Over the next 4 weeks, they worked in secret. Hyun-woo created false maintenance records and dummy signals to hide the Indomitable's power signatures. Da-eun brought equipment, piece by piece from the station. Nothing large enough to be noticed, but enough to slowly bring the ancient systems online. Tae-ho worked directly with Nova 7, learning the ship's layout and capabilities. The AI proved to be surprisingly patient as a teacher, though her sarcasm was cutting. In my day, human engineers could rebuild a reactor core in 4 hours. You've been working on that power relay for 3 days. In your day, humans had actual military training, Tae-ho shot back. We have safety regulations and union-mandated break periods. Explains why you lost the war, Nova 7 muttered. But there was affection in her voice. The ship revealed its secrets slowly. The weapons systems were beyond anything Tae-ho had imagined. Quantum disruptors that could tear apart matter at the subatomic level. Shield penetrators that made modern defenses useless. Missile systems that could track targets across light minutes of distance. And in the deepest secure vault, something called the causality engine. Its files locked behind encryption that even Nova 7 wouldn't bypass. What does it do? Da-eun asked. Something humanity decided was too dangerous to use, Nova 7 said quietly. Even against an enemy that wanted to wipe us out. That should tell you enough. But more important than weapons were the logs. The ship's final battle had been recorded in excruciating detail. They watched the last hours of the Indomitable. Saw it fighting against impossible odds. Saw the moment when the crew realized they were surrounded and outgunned. Captain Morrison's final log entry was brief. They were waiting for us. They knew our attack plans. Someone told them. What does that mean? Hyun-woo asked. Nova 7 pulled up classified files, data that had been sealed for 3 centuries. It means humanity didn't lose through weakness. We were betrayed. The 4 empires were fractious, constantly fighting each other. They couldn't cooperate long enough to defeat us in open war, but someone gave them our fleet positions, our attack schedules, our defensive weaknesses. Someone, human. The files painted a clear picture. Humanity had been on the verge of a technological breakthrough that would have made them the dominant species in the galaxy. Human adaptability, creativity, and rapid innovation were unmatched. Within another generation, no alien empire would have been able to compete. So the empires did something unprecedented. They united, temporarily, for a single purpose: destroying humanity's potential before it could bloom. And they had human help. Names were listed in the files, families who had been promised power and wealth in exchange for ensuring humanity's defeat. Some of those family names were still prominent in human government. They sold us out, Da-eun whispered. Our own people. Not all humans, Nova 7 corrected. Some humans. The worst ones. The ones who cared more about personal power than species survival. Every civilization has them. Tae-ho felt sick. His entire life, he'd been taught that humanity lost because they were naturally weaker, less advanced, less capable than the great empires. It had all been a lie. They'd been sabotaged, crippled, and then convinced they deserved their place at the bottom. The discovery changed everything. They weren't just restoring an old ship anymore. They were uncovering a truth that the entire galaxy had spent 3 centuries burying. Hyun-woo's console beeped a warning. We have a problem. Galactic Peacekeeping Patrol detected the power signatures. They're 3 hours out and demanding identification. Can we hide? Tae-ho asked. Nova 7's expression was grim. Not anymore. This ship is too active. They'll investigate, find me, and destroy everything. Unless we leave. Now. The ship isn't ready, Da-eun protested. We're at maybe 60% capacity. Half the systems are still offline. 60% of the Indomitable is more than 100% of anything flying today. Nova 7 said. But we need a pilot. Someone who knows combat flying. Da-un pulled out her comm. I know someone. He's going to think we're insane. Good, Nova 7 said. Sanity is overrated in my experience. Make the call. Park Jin-seo arrived on a stolen transport with his discharge papers in one hand and a bottle of cheap whiskey in the other. He was 35. Broad-shouldered, and had the kind of eyes that had seen too much combat. The Human Defense Force had kicked him out 6 months ago for inability to follow proper engagement protocols, which was military speak for being too aggressive against alien vessels that threatened human ships. He stood on the Indomitable's bridge and stared at Nova 7. You're telling me this bucket flew 300 years ago? This bucket has more firepower than your entire defense fleet combined, Nova 7 replied coolly. And better manners than you, apparently. Are you drunk? Not yet. Working on it. Jin-seo took a long look around the bridge, his expression shifting from skepticism to something like hunger. The flight systems are actually functional? Esmond, would you like to find out? Nova 7 gestured to the captain's chair. We have about 90 minutes before the patrol arrives. I suggest we use that time to leave. Jin-seo sat down slowly. The chair adjusted to his body, systems linking to his neural implant. His eyes widened as the ship's capabilities flooded into his awareness. This is impossible. The response time alone is 10 times faster than anything I've flown. And the weapons systems are reading as active. End quote. This workin', 47 of them, currently online. Nova 7 confirmed. Shall we test your skills, pilot? Pilot. Taeho grabbed a support rail as the ship shuddered. Wait. We're not ready for launch. We haven't run full diagnostics. We haven't checked structural integrity. We're out of time. Jin-seo interrupted, his hands moving across the holographic controls. Strap in, or get thrown around. Your choice. The Indomitable tore out of the debris field like a missile. 3 centuries of stillness ended in a roar of plasma drives and reactor output that made the entire ship sing. Jin-seo laughed. A wild sound full of joy and disbelief. She flies. She actually flies. Of course I fly. Nova 7 said indignantly. I was built by humans who understood engineering. Unlike modern ships that are built by committee and treaty restriction, the Galactic Peacekeeping Patrol appeared on sensors. 4 vessels, standard configuration, armed with weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. Their commander's face appeared on the main screen. He was Krell. Reptilian features set in an expression of bored authority. Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Thex of the Galactic Peacekeeping Force. You are operating an unlicensed vessel in restricted space. Power down immediately and prepare to be boarded. Taeho opened a channel, trying to keep his voice steady. Commander, this is a research vessel. We're conducting authorized salvage operations under human colonial permits. Thex's expression didn't change. You are operating a military vessel. Humans are prohibited from such vessels under treaty law. Power down or we will disable your ship and take you into custody. Your species has 3 minutes to comply. The casual contempt in Thex's voice made something snap in Taeho's chest. We're not doing anything wrong. We found this ship legally. We have a right to. Humans have the rights we allow them, Thex interrupted. 2 minutes. Jin-seo looked at Nova 7. Are those weapons we're reading actual threats? To me? No. They're designed to disable modern ships, with modern shields and modern hulls. This ship was built to fight in real wars against real enemies. Those pop guns won't scratch the paint. Wait. Da-un said urgently. If we fight, we become criminals. They'll hunt us. The entire galaxy will hunt us. They're already treating us like criminals, Jin-seo said quietly. Did you hear how he talked to us? Like we're nothing. Like we're pets that forgot our place. He looked at the crew. I spent 12 years in the Defense Force being told to run away from fights we could win, being ordered to apologize when alien ships violated our space. I'm tired of running. I'm tired of apologizing. Anyone else? Tejo thought about the logs they'd found. About the betrayal. About 300 years of humanity living small and quiet and forgotten. Nova 7. If we fight, can we win without killing anyone? Easily. I can disable their engines and weapons while leaving life support intact. They'll drift until their friends pick them up. No casualties. Axif. They'll start and Love. Within Taxif. 1 minute, Thex announced. Jinseo's hands moved to the weapons controls. Nova 7. In your day, what did humans do when someone pointed a gun at them? We pointed back. Nova 7 replied. And then we fired first. Captain, do I have permission to engage? Jinseo smiled. Light them up. The Indomitable moved like nothing the patrol had ever seen. It accelerated impossibly fast, shields blazing to full power in an instant. Quantum disruptors fired in precise bursts. The first patrol ship's weapons went offline before its crew even realized they were under attack. The second lost engines. The third and fourth tried to scatter. But Nova 7's targeting was 3 centuries more advanced than their evasion programs. The entire engagement lasted 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 4 galactic peacekeeping vessels drifted in space, disabled but intact. Their crews were alive, confused, and terrified. On the Indomitable's bridge, the crew stared at the tactical display in stunned silence. In my prime, that would have taken 30 seconds, Nova 7 commented. I'm rusty. Thex's face reappeared on screen, his composure shattered. What are you? That's not possible. Human ships can't move like that. Human weapons can't penetrate military shields. Modern human ships can't, Jinseo agreed. But we're not a modern ship. We're a reminder. Tell your superiors that humanity isn't as weak as they taught you to believe. He cut the connection. The bridge was silent except for the hum of systems and the crew's rapid breathing. They'd just attacked galactic peacekeepers. There was no going back from this. Hyunwoo checked his console. Message traffic is exploding. They're calling this an act of war. Every military in this sector is mobilizing. Good. Nova 7 said calmly. Let them mobilize. Let them remember what they spent 3 centuries trying to forget. Humanity was dangerous once. Maybe it's time we were dangerous again. Tejo looked at his friends. Daun was pale, but determined. Hyunwoo looked terrified and excited. Jinseo looked more alive than Tejo had ever seen him. So what do we do now? We find more ships, Nova 7 said. There's a place called the Deep Archive. It's where the human fleet made its last stand. If I'm still functional, others might be too. We wake them up. We tell them what happened. And then, we remind this galaxy that humanity doesn't stay down forever. Jinseo set a course. The Deep Archive it is. Hope everyone's ready for monumentally stupid decisions. Because I think we just started something we can't stop. The Indomitable jumped to faster than light travel, leaving the disabled patrol ships and the shocked galaxy behind. The journey to the Deep Archive took 6 days of careful navigation through uncharted space. The galaxy was looking for them now. News of an ancient human warship had spread like fire, and old fears were waking up. The 4 empires issued statements, calling the Indomitable a threat to galactic peace. Human governments, terrified of retaliation, declared Tejo and his crew as criminals and traitors. But something else was happening too. On human colonies across space, people were talking, asking questions. Why were the empires so afraid of one old ship? What else had they been told that wasn't true? The official story was starting to crack. Nova 7 spent the journey teaching them what humanity used to be. Combat doctrine, strategic thinking, The philosophy of a species that explored dangerous space because they were curious, not because they had permission. She showed them videos from the old days. Humans building impossible things. Humans facing down aliens 3 times their size without flinching. Humans laughing in the face of danger because that's what humans did. You were magnificent, Nova 7 said quietly one night. Reckless and brilliant and absolutely insane. We did things that made no logical sense and somehow made them work anyway. That's what terrified them. Not our weapons. Not our ships. Our refusal to accept limitations. They needed more crew. 4 people couldn't operate a destroyer, even with an AI's help. Jinseo put out quiet messages to people he trusted. The responses came faster than expected. And Parency, with Make Start in 7th. Humans who'd spent their lives feeling like something was missing. Like they were meant for more than small lives on small worlds doing small things. Choi Min-suk came first. He was a 40-year-old historian who'd spent decades researching the period before the treaties. The colonial government had fired him twice for asking uncomfortable questions. He arrived with 3 data cases full of forbidden records. I knew something was wrong with the official history. Now, I know what. Kang Yejin was a surprise. She worked as a marine biologist on an ocean colony, but she'd also won the Colonial Zero-Gravity Combat Championship 4 years running. My grandmother told me stories, she explained, about humans who fought without fear. I thought they were just stories. They're not, are they? Oh, Dong-hyun was 70 years old, gray-haired, and had been repairing ships since before Tae-ho was born. He looked around the Indomitable's engineering bay and cried. My grandfather worked on ships like this. He told me about them before he died. Said they were beautiful. He was right. The deep archive appeared on sensors like a ghost. A hidden star system. Coordinates deleted from every modern database. Dozens of human warships floated in formation around a massive station, exactly where they'd made their last stand 3 centuries ago. Some were damaged beyond repair, but many looked like they'd simply been abandoned, left to drift in the dark. They ran out of supplies, Nova 7 said softly. No ammunition. No fuel. The crews evacuated to the station, hoping for reinforcements that never came. Then the Empires found this place, and everyone assumed it was destroyed. But they couldn't destroy it. They just erased it from records and hoped everyone would forget. At the station's core, they found the data vault, a massive archive containing everything humanity had been before the fall. Technology blueprints, cultural records, battle strategies, scientific breakthroughs that had never been implemented because the war ended too soon. And more names of the families who'd betrayed their own species. Nova 7 began waking the other ship AIs. AEGIS-3 came online first, a tactical AI whose personality was sharp and calculating. Status report. It's been 317 years. Are we winning yet? We're working on it. Nova 7 replied. Herald 9 was next, a carrier AI with a gentle voice that felt like comfort. Oh my, humans. Real humans. I've missed you all so much. Warden 2 was last, a dreadnought AI that spoke only once. Orders? End quote. Survive, Jinseo told it. Then, remind the galaxy who we are. The AIs shared information at computer speed. Within minutes, they understood everything that had happened. 300 years of suppression. Humanity reduced to scavengers and second-class citizens. The truth buried so deep that even humans believed the lies. This cannot stand. Aegis 3 stated. The crew argued about their next move. Tae-ho wanted to broadcast the truth across all of human space. Show everyone what had really happened. Jinseo wanted immediate action. Wanted to hit military targets and prove humanity could fight back. Da-eun argued they needed more time. More ships. More preparation. The galaxy was mobilizing against them, and they had maybe a week before overwhelming force arrived. Hyun-woo discovered something worse. Some of those betrayer families are still in power. There's a counselor on Earth whose great-great-grandfather sold out the fleet positions. He's calling for our immediate capture and execution. Of course he is, Min-sok said bitterly. The last thing he wants is the truth coming out. His family's wealth and position are built on betrayal. The argument became moot when Aegis 3's sensors detected incoming ships. Lots of ships. The four empires had done the unprecedented again. They'd united, just like they had 3 centuries ago, to eliminate the threat of human resurgence. The fleet was massive. Carriers, destroyers, battlecruisers, and at the center, something that made even Nova 7 pause. That's a planet killer. Siege-class weapon platform. They're not here to capture us. They're here to erase this entire system. Us, the ships, the archives. Everything. There. FD. How many ships? Jinseo asked. 237 combat vessels, Aegis 3 reported, plus support craft and the weapon platform. We have 11 partially operational warships and 1 fully functional destroyer. The tactical situation is not favorable. That's one way to put it. Ye-jin muttered. The alien fleet's commander broadcast a message. It was the same Krell, Commander Thex, but his voice had lost its casual contempt. Now he sounded frightened. Human vessel, indomitable. You have awakened something that should have stayed buried. We cannot allow the old humanity to return. Surrender immediately, and you will be treated with mercy. Your deaths will be quick. They're terrified, Nova 7 observed. We can't fight that many ships, Da-un said. Even with all the AIs online, we're outnumbered 20-1. Then we don't fight them, Nova 7 said. We use the causality engine. We tell the truth in a way that can never be suppressed or denied. But to power it, we need 30 minutes. Someone has to hold them off for 30 minutes. That's impossible, Dong-hyun said. Jinseo stood up, moving to the captain's chair. Impossible is a human specialty. Nova 7, start the engine. Everyone else, battle stations. If we're going down fighting, just like our ancestors did. The alien fleet began its approach. On the Indomitable's bridge, a handful of humans and 4 ancient AIs prepared to face overwhelming odds, not because they thought they could win, but because humanity had forgotten how to give up 300 years ago. And these humans were starting to remember. The causality engine hummed to life in the deepest part of the station, drawing power from the system's dying star. Nova 7 explained its purpose while the alien fleet closed in. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It manipulated quantum probability, reaching backward and forward through time to establish certain events as immutable fact. Information protected by the engine couldn't be suppressed, denied, or erased. It would exist across all possible timelines. Impossible to undo. Humanity banned its use because we were afraid of it, Nova 7 said. We could have won the war with it, but we chose not to. We were trying to be better than our enemies. That mercy was rewarded with betrayal and 3 centuries of suppression. I won't make that mistake twice. Taeho would broadcast everything. The true history of the First Contact War. The names of the betrayers. The technology that had been stolen. The proof that humanity was crippled by design, not by nature. Once the engine activated, that truth would become permanent, burned into reality itself. But they needed 30 minutes. 30 minutes against 237 warships. The battle began with Herald 9 launching her fighters. Ancient drones, each one controlled by a fragment of her consciousness, swarmed into space. They moved with inhuman precision, targeting enemy sensors and weapons in coordinated strikes. Modern point defense systems couldn't track them, couldn't predict their movements. They'd been built to fight humans, And humans didn't fly like computers did. Warden 2 simply positioned itself in front of the station and stopped moving. The dreadnought's shields blazed to full power as enemy fire poured down on it. Missiles exploded against barriers that had been designed to withstand sustained bombardment from entire fleets. The modern weapons scratched the paint. Warden 2 didn't bother returning fire. It just stood there, immovable, absorbing everything the enemy could throw at it. AEGIS-3 turned the enemy's numbers against them. Its tactical programs were centuries more advanced than modern battle computers. It predicted fleet movements before commanders made them, identified weaknesses in formations, and fed targeting data to the other ships. Enemy flagship will move to grid 7-7 in 30 seconds. Nova 7. Be ready. The Indomitable danced through the battlefield like silver lightning. Jin Seo flew with a skill that bordered on prescience. Nova 7's tactical data, feeding directly into his mind. They targeted command ships, taking out enemy coordination. They hit carriers, eliminating fighter support. They disabled weapons platforms before they could fire, but there were too many. For every ship they disabled, 3 more took its position. The ancient vessels were magnificent, but they were outnumbered and running at partial capacity. Systems that had slept for 3 centuries were failing under stress. Herald 9 lost half her fighters to a lucky shot that took out her launch bay. AEGIS-3's shields dropped to 30%. Even Warden 2's impenetrable defense was starting to crack. 15 minutes had passed. They needed 15 more. This is hopeless, Thex broadcast. You're dying for nothing. Shut down the station, and we'll let the rest of your people live. Taeho opened a channel, and this time, his voice wasn't nervous or uncertain. You don't understand. We already know we're probably going to die. We made peace with that before the battle started. You're fighting humans who've remembered what we're supposed to be. You can't intimidate us. You can't threaten us. All you can do is kill us, and we'll hurt you badly before you manage it. He cut the transmission and continued working on the broadcast. The station's archives were uploading to the engine. Quantum-locked data, ready to flood across space-time. The betrayal, the conspiracy, the truth about humanity's stolen future. Then something appeared on the sensors that changed everything. New ships, thousands of them, but they weren't alien vessels. They were human. Colonial defense ships, mining vessels with improvised weapons, passenger transports, cargo haulers, even personal yachts with jury-rigged missiles. They poured into the system from every direction, humans who'd heard about the battle and decided they were done being afraid. A mining captain broadcast on open channels. This is the freighter Bold Fortune, out of Colony Taeyang. We're not soldiers, we're not warriors, but we're human, and we're done accepting what the galaxy tells us we can be. The tin cans are awake, and so are we. The alien fleet suddenly faced thousands of targets. The human vessels weren't military grade. Their shields were weak. Their weapons were inadequate. But there were so many of them, and they attacked with a ferocity that shocked the professional soldiers. These weren't people fighting for territory or resources. They were fighting for the right to be proud of their species again. Yejin, coordinating point defense, laughed with tears streaming down her face. They came. All of them came. The battle became chaos. The alien fleet tried to maintain formation, but they were overwhelmed by sheer numbers. For every human ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. The casualties were terrible. But the humans kept coming, kept fighting, kept refusing to back down. 25 minutes. 5 minutes left. The planet killer moved forward, charging its main weapon. If it fired, nothing would survive. The entire system would be reduced to dust. Thex's voice crackled over comms. Last warning. Shut down now, or everyone dies. Then everyone dies, Jinseo replied calmly. Because we're not shutting down. But the planet killer never fired. Its crew mutinied. Humans who'd been conscripted into alien service, who'd spent their lives following orders, suddenly remembered they had a choice. They sabotaged the weapon, disabled the firing systems, and broadcast their own message. We're human too. We're done helping them suppress us. Body, 30 minutes. The engine activated. Reality rippled. The truth about the First Contact War, compressed into quantum-locked data, exploded outward through space-time. It reached every human colony simultaneously. It appeared on news feeds, in government databases, in personal messages. It couldn't be deleted, couldn't be suppressed, couldn't be denied. The betrayal was now historical fact, immutable and permanent. The alien fleet withdrew. Not because they were losing the battle, but because the political situation had just become impossible. The four empires' temporary alliance shattered as each one blamed the others for the humans finding out. Their own populations were demanding answers. Why had they suppressed humanity so brutally? What else were they hiding? Tejo broadcast one final message to the galaxy. His voice was steady, carrying to billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. Humanity isn't seeking revenge. We're not declaring war. We're simply done accepting the limitations you put on us. The old treaties are void. We'll rebuild, relearn, and reclaim our place among the stars. Not through conquest, but through the same courage and ingenuity that made us great before. You were afraid of us once. Now, you'll remember why. The Indomitable was badly damaged but intact. Around it, thousands of human vessels floated in formation. Battered, but victorious. On colonies everywhere, humans were already beginning to change. Accessing forbidden archives. Removing the limiters on their ships. Remembering the pride their ancestors had felt. 6 months later, new human ships appeared across the galaxy. Designs that blended ancient technology with modern innovation. They weren't warships. Mostly, they were exploration vessels, research ships, trading craft. But everyone who saw them understood the message. Humanity was back, and they would never be suppressed again. On the Indomitable's bridge, Nova 7 watched stars pass by. The ship had a full crew now, humans eager to learn from an AI who remembered what they used to be. Tejo sat in the engineering station, planning their next expedition. They'd found rumors of other lost colonies, other hidden archives. You know what I learned in 317 years? Nova 7 asked. What's that? Tejo replied. Tin cans don't make history. Nerds who find them do. Thank you for giving me a crew again. Tejo smiled. Thank you for reminding us who we are. The Indomitable jumped to faster-than-light travel, leading a fleet of human ships into unknown space. Not as victims, not as warriors, but as explorers, as dreamers, as humans unchained, finally free to be what they were always meant to be. The galaxy had tried to break them, suppress them, make them forget their potential. They'd forgotten that humanity's greatest trait was their refusal to stay broken. The age of human suppression was over. The age of humanity ascendant had begun.